Yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. It's Def, and today we're going to be taking a look at how we can fix Havoc in the War Within. Right now with the Aldrachi Reaver, the gameplay is very tedious and quite annoying. If you look at the Demon Hunter feedback forum, I'd say a good 80% of the player base that are people that are just testing and trying out Havoc are just very unhappy with the gameplay right now, and I'm very worried that they're not going to make any changes because the community manager, I believe is his title, I think is the person who runs like the Demon Hunter feedback forum. I'm not sure 100%, but they posted this. They said our focus on hero talent trees is shifting away from reworks and design changes. So basically what that means, they're just focusing on tuning. I don't know why they're spending 2 months on tuning. It's kind of weird. I don't know why it would take that long. Tuning seems like a basic thing. You know, you just look at a couple numbers and then you turn some knobs, and then, you know, obviously I'm, exaggerating. It's simplifying it a little bit more. But I think most of the player base or the people that are playing Havoc aren't really worried about tuning at the moment. Although we are kind of tuned pretty bad right now. I think the main focus is on trying to fix Aldrachi Reaver and the Reaver's Mark and everything. And the entirety of the issue is just Reaver's Mark, how Reaver's Mark is applied, and just how Reaver's Mark gets amped to 30%. So currently Reaver's Mark is the Chaos Strike enhancement ability after you press Reaver's Glaive, which makes almost 0 sense. By default, it's a 15% increased damage taken debuff that's put on your target, but if you use the Blade Dance enhancement first, it amps it to 30%. Now, isn't that wonderful? So what this causes us to do, because obviously in our Essence Break window, while using Essence Break on a boss, we're going to want that extra 15% on Reaver's Mark. We have to Reaver's Glaive, Blade Dance, and then literally dance around the boss for about 7 seconds until Blade Dance is off cooldown to go into our Essence Break window and our meta, and it just feels really bad. Delaying meta, delaying Essence Break, delaying our I-beam, just delaying everything when meta is already delayed because of Essence Break, and then our second 2 minutes come up like 2:20 into a fight, and it doesn't feel very good. I saw some people talking about Thrill of the Fight, and I'll go over that in a little bit, but Thrill of the Fight isn't really an issue if we just make these changes that I'm about to go over. I mean, it's really only one change really, but the easiest way to fix this, you might ask. Currently, Reaver's Glaive itself does almost nothing after the attack power buff or fix, whatever it got. It does like the slightest amount of damage now, but basically all it does is start the enhancement ability sequence for Blade Dance and Chaos Strike. So what needs to happen is Reaver's Glaive just needs to apply Reaver's Mark rather than Chaos Strike. Doesn't that just make sense? Reaver's Glaive applying Reaver's Mark instead of Chaos Strike. Now you're probably thinking, okay, the Chaos Strike lost its enhancement. What should we do now? All it needs, it just like Blade Dance, make it something simple. Just give Chaos Strike enhancement like a single target damage event, just like a big boom after you press Chaos Strike. Yippee! Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but this legit fixes our entire opener, and it'll make the opener feel 1,000,000 times better and less tedious, and not tedious at all. It's just a regular Essence Break opener. It does change our opener a little bit, and I get, wanting the hero talents, you want to feel some impact probably on our regular talents, and we will. We get, buffs, and we press Reaver's Glaive, and, our opener changes by like 1 global after pressing Reaver's Glaive. So the opener would be like just our normal one. We would hunt, Reaver's Glaive, Fel Rush, I-beam, and you would have to Chaos Strike or Annihilation after your I-beam to get the sequence started. And then you could do Essence Break, Death Sweep, Vengeful Retreat, Meta, Death Sweep. Now you're probably wondering, well, how do we get Thrill of the Fight in that first Death Sweep? Well, I'll show you a log here. This is how I did the opener, how I just explained. And we can see the big hit from our Essence Break Death Sweep. The big hit is right here. This is the only part of Death Sweep that it really matters to have Thrill of the Fight, to have that damage buff. And you can see it's applied here, even though we did the opener, not correctly. The Reaver's Mark on this is messed up because Reaver's Mark isn't being applied through Reaver's Glaive, but you get the point. Thrill of the Fight gets applied before the last slash of Death Sweep, that last big hit. So yeah, we won't have Thrill of the Fight for the I-beam or Essence Break initial hits, but it doesn't matter. Those abilities don't do damage anyways. and you can see it's applied here, but I'll just show you here. Thrill of the Fight applied at 436.66. The big death sweep hit was at 436.89, so 0.2 seconds before it got applied. All we need to do, we don't need to change Thrill of the Fight. All we need to do is change Reaver's Glaive so it applies Reaver's Mark instead of Chaos Strike. And I also offered another suggestion on the forums to where Reaver's Glaive would apply a 30% Reaver's Mark if it hits one target, and then if it hits multiple targets, it should apply a 15% Reaver's Mark. And I think that makes the most sense. Reaver's Mark will have more impact in AoE and more impact in single target. I really hope they make this change. It'll make the opener 100 times more enjoyable, and the Demon Hunter opener, or just Essence Break windows in general, are like arguably the most fun part of the spec right now. Just getting those big crits in those Essence Break windows, you know, they feel like the best, but obviously when you don't crit, it feels pretty bad. That's another story for another time. Know your enemy. That talent should, I don't know, something. That talent is just something. But anyways, we're gonna move on. So Reaver's Glaive is based off of Soul Fragments, which is another thing in itself. As Havoc Demon Hunters, we have no control over Soul Fragment generation outside of Sigil of Spite and Sigil of Flame, and basically no control over Soul Fragment consumption, just besides spotting the Soul Fragment and running over to it. I offered a couple ideas on the forum to fix this as well. I think a good one that I didn't post on the forums, but I saw somebody recommend something similar. They should make Reaver's Glaive a 20-second cooldown rather than rely on souls. Because right now with our Soul Fragment generation, we average a Reaver's Glaive about every 15 to 20 seconds. Just depends on your Soul Fragment spawning RNG. So if they just give me a 20-second CD, you know, I'm completely fine with that. I've seen a couple hero talents like that to where it's like every 20 seconds X ability turns into this or spawns this. As they could just make it every 20 seconds your Throw Glaive turns into Reaver's Glaive. They could also change it to where we gain stacks from generating souls rather than consuming them. That way we don't have to worry about where the souls are spawning and if you're missing any, or if there's one across the room. Or they could also give one of our abilities like Vengeance the ability to consume souls like Spirit Bomb and Soul Cleave. Just something simple like Chaos Strike or Fell Blade, literally any ability that could just consume souls from like a mile away like Vengeance can. That way we don't have to worry about where the souls are. Because if you're in a raid with like 19, you know, to 29 other people, and then there's like a big dragon in front of you and there's stuff on the floor, maybe 2 big dragons in front of you and maybe 3 small adds, 4 small adds, something like that. You know, it's hard to see those soul fragments. Like, it sucks. Like you can't see them. You know, I'm over exaggerating a little bit, like, but you get the idea. You know, trying to chase down soul fragments as Havoc really feels really bad. And then another thing they could do, they could just make it based on Fury spent. I did the math on this like a week or 2 ago, and to keep the same amount of Reaver's Glaives we get throughout that like the 20-second window, we need to spend around like 500 Fury, maybe a little bit less, to get one like every 15 to 20 seconds. You know, so after spending 500 Fury, your next Throw Glaive will be a Reaver's Glaive, you know, something like that. Any of these changes, again, would just make the gameplay feel 1,000,000 times better. Then the last thing about Aldrachi Reaver is how Reaver's Glaive actually works. My last video on Aldrachi, I made a bit of a meme build, and I guess nobody kind of noticed. But because Reaver's Glaive replaces Throw Glaive when it procs, it prevents you from choosing Throw Glaive talents even though it's a Throw Glaive ability, which is kind of weird. Seems like a huge design flaw, and just kind of like a design failure almost. Because sometimes you want to hold your Reaver's Glaive for your burst windows like Demonic and Essence Break. So say your Essence Break is on, about to come off cooldown in 10 seconds, and then you just got your 6th soul. Now you have Reaver's Glaive up, and you're spec'd into all the Throw Glaive talents, and you have to hold your Reaver's Glaive because you want the Reaver's Glaive buffs inside of your Essence Break. And if you're holding your Reaver's Glaives and your Throw Glaive charges for that window, it's just going to feel really bad and, you know, just be very bad for damage. Alright, now that that's all out of the way, let's just take a quick look at Fel-Scarred. So the functionality of Fel-Scarred, the gameplay of Fel-Scarred all seems pretty solid. It's a bit passive and doesn't really change much. I like how it incentivizes you to press other buttons besides Annihilation and Death Sweep even while in meta. It being focused around meta, that was like kind of the worry I had, that it was just going to have us just focused on pressing Annihilation over and over and over. But I think they did a very good job with it. Although it is tuned very low right now, Fel-Scarred doesn't even compete with Aldrachi, the Aldrachi Reaver tree currently. But again, I'm not worried about tuning. That'll get sorted whenever it gets sorted. The big problem with Fel-Scarred right now is, say, we're pulling a boss. I do my opener, I I-beam, Annihilation, and Death Sweep. Use my first 2 casts and get 2 stacks of Demon Surge. Then I meta and it resets the Demon Surge. I'd like to see it stack past 5. It would make us a bit more powerful in the meta windows, which is what this hero tree is all about. And that alone could help with tuning if the stacks went up 70%. But the big issue is when we're playing Cycle of Hatred and we're in our meta. So if you're in meta currently and you reset your I-beam and use I-beam while in meta, it doesn't reset Annihilation and Death Sweep first cast procs. So you literally just don't get Demon Surge at all from pressing I-beam while in meta. So I'm hoping this is just a bug or an oversight, and that's not intended, because the hero tree is focused around meta, but it's not really incentivizing us to play the meta strong talents, or the meta talents at all, which is the same problem Aldrachi Reaver has with the throw glaive talents. It again just makes you want to not play Cycle of Hatred, or I guess you're just holding I-beam after the reset for a couple seconds to ensure you get the Demon Surge from that I-beam, which again feels really bad, and I hope that is not their intention. Other than that, Fel-Scarred, I have no complaints. It's kind of boring. All it is passive damage, and the current tuning is very underwhelming. But I think it's a solid hero talent tree. I think they need to up the single target talent in the tree, Focused Hatred, from 35% to even 100%, and if it's too much, just turn it down a bit. But currently in single target, it's heavily lacking damage, and that's just compared to Aldrachi Reaver, and compared to other specs from what I've seen, even it is, our tuning is just really poor right now. Not very good. But yeah, this is my feedback video, I guess. Tuesday is coming up, and surely we get some patch notes with some good changes for the upcoming raid testing. And yeah, till next time. See ya.